Three, two, one. Hi, this is Kristin McCracken here with our Kino Chats interview with Lena Urzendowsky, a young German actress who has been acting since her early teens, and she can be seen in 2 other series on Netflix here in the US, How to Sell Drugs Online Fast and Dark. She's also starred in a number of films, including The White Rabbit and Cocoon. She currently stars, however, in the new series We Children from Bahnhof Zoo, which is streaming in the US on Amazon Prime. And the series is based on a seminal 1978 autobiographical book about a group of young heroin addicts in West Berlin in the late 70s. The book was originally turned into a hit 1981 German film, Christiane F. Wir Kinder von Bahnhof Zoo. So I don't know how I got any of that pronounced correctly, but welcome, Lena. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm very happy to. Thank you.
Congratulations on the release of this new series. You play Stella, who is a very strong character right from the start, and you have some really intense scenes that I don't want to necessarily give away, but they were some intense scenes. What kind of research did you do to play Stella? And were you aware of the book and the film? I know it's kind of before your time. I wonder how much you knew about it and what your introduction to Stella was.
Well, it's almost impossible to grow up in Berlin without knowing the story, and I think some schools even have, like, children have to read it at school, the book. Okay. And I watched the film when I was a kid myself, and then I, of course, also read the book in preparation for the audition. Yes.
And did Stella, Stella didn't figure as prominently in the original book, right? I understand that they kind of found her through other interviews that the journalist had done. What have you learned about her?
Christiane is talking a bit about Stella in the book as well, and she also got a very small part in the movie. Okay. But of course, in the series, her story is way more like important, and she's much more present.
They broadened out kind of all of the group of characters
yes.
in the series. So I tried to find the film, and I couldn't find it to watch on streaming or anything in America. So I'm trying to figure out the original.
Yeah, well, I know it's on Amazon Prime, I think, in Germany, but maybe they've got some different yeah,
I'll keep
programs.
Maybe they'll release it now after this. They want you to watch that first. So much of the series revolves around heavy drug use and very dangerous situations for young people. And what also comes out, though, is the camaraderie between the characters and how much they connect with each other and kind of become a family. What was it like on set? Did you all become very close, the 6 of you?
Yeah. We got very close, especially when we are shooting in Prague, because we used to live very close to each other. So we spent lots of evenings in someone's kitchen, cooking and talking, and yeah, spending time together.
Did you know?
Still, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We're very close even now after the shooting, which is not always the case.
Mm-hmm. Did you know any of them before? Any of the other actors before?
Yeah, I knew Michelangelo, because we once shooted it before, like 1 or 2 years. I don't remember, maybe in 2018 or something. We did a movie together, and back then we played best friends. Yeah, so we knew each other, but the rest I just got to know them while the auditions.
He's very charismatic, that Michelangelo. I think he's very wonderful. So what did you take away from the character of Stella? Did anything stay with you from her? You know, I mean, she had a lot of strengths in addition to her issues. Yeah.
Well, I hope I could keep some of her strength and her confidence. I hope so. But I definitely kept some of her dance moves, her wild dance moves, and also some parts of her style. I mean, I fell in love with the 70s style, like the jackets and the shoes and everything. Yeah, I still like to wear them.
It was interesting because some of that, you know, I know that the creators of the show kind of wanted to keep it a little bit more modern so it didn't totally, I mean, you were kind of unsure what decade it was. There were no phones, there was no, you know, and David Bowie was performing concerts, so there's those kind of things that give you the signs that it's then. But the outfits really look like they could have worked now. Like, I think they would be very hip, stylish now, right? The style.
They are, especially in Berlin.
Yeah. How much has Berlin, so the original book was based obviously in the late 70s. So how much has Berlin changed? And you said that you mentioned that you filmed in Prague. So how did they recreate 1970s Berlin now? Or did they try, what was the impetus or what was the goal?
Well, I think the original places changed a lot. So we did all the stuff in like studios or whatever, green screen.
Yeah.
But I think, for example, the station Bahnhof Zoo is still a drug dominated area. Really? And also Kurfürstenstraße or Jebenstraße. I mean, those are still streets where you find lots of prostitution. But you wouldn't recognize them without reading the road signs right now, just from watching the series. It's like it changed a lot, but yes. So
what did you shoot in Prague? Like outside things that were outside, or you did sound sets or stage sets in
outside, a lot outside.
Interesting. Okay. In a strange twist, your brother, Sebastian, plays your best friend's father in the series, which I didn't realize. I kind of looked and I was like, wait, they have the same name and this is very confusing. And so was that, he's a bit older than you. I mean, he's 15 years or so older. What was that weird for you? Is your whole family creative? Have you worked with your brother before? Tell us about
Well, I love the story. It's a good story. I don't think it was weird. It was even great to have someone so close working on the same project. And I would have loved to have a real scene with them, because our characters, they don't even meet once. But there was no chance that we got to play together, but I would have loved that.
That's
but still, my mom is a singer, and I've got an uncle who works in a big theater here in Berlin. And I don't know, there are a lot of creative people in my family, but my other siblings, for example, they work in completely different areas. So I don't know.
Had you worked with him before?
Of course, we sometimes did some like private short movies together. Own projects, but never on a professional project. No.
That must be so nice to have that connection to your brother.
I love it. Yeah. And it's so great to have someone I can always talk to and ask him all the questions I have about movies and my characters. And yeah.
Cool. For such a young actor, you've appeared in so much already. What do you look for when you're selecting your roles? And do you prefer television? Do you prefer film? Do you like to be able to stretch a character out over time?
I love to stretch my characters out. This is what I loved about We, the Children of Bahnhof Zoo, and about Stella, that, I mean, it's like 8 episodes, 8 hours time to develop a character and to tell the whole bow, and like to let her learn also from the experience she made. I think that's a great opportunity about series. But I also love cinema, and I especially love independent movies. What I love about them is maybe that it's more possible for them just to tell a story because there's a need to tell this story, this particular character, maybe even if it's a strange one. I mean, sometimes I feel like the whole commercial aspects, they're a little less important in the cinema. They don't have to catch the most spectators possible. Not always, of course, but sometimes this is what I feel, or it's kind of easier for me as an actress to forget about the whole production and making of process, being on a very small set and filming an independent movie.
Interesting. I understand that you have become politically and environmentally engaged and aware. What can you tell us about your passions? And I understand there's something called the Fridays for Future movement. You can tell us about.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have seen, for example, Seaspiracy or Cowspiracy on Netflix. And I feel like there was a point in my life when I learned all those information and I had them, and I felt like I can continue my life living it like before without changing it for better. So I became vegan. I live in a very sustainable way, the most sustainable possible for me as a private person. And then I started doing movies and stuff, and the public interest in my own person raised, and I understood that I need to use that opportunity and the platform you, for example, give me right now, talking with me about the environment, to encourage people and to raise the awareness. And I think Fridays for Future reminds us that the climate change is a crisis and need also to be treated as such. And I mean, capitalism makes it so easy for us to choose the flight or the meat or whatever consumption. And this is why we need politics to help us change our daily behavior and to change the production circumstances. And and that's why we need Fridays for Future, to show politics that people want to move and to change. And so I'm very glad that Fridays for Future becomes bigger and bigger. And
How can people find out more about Fridays for Future? Is there?
You can just look it up on the internet.
Okay.
You'll find all the information you need, and also please watch documentations.
Okay. Great. Thank you. I admire your passion, and I'm very impressed with your young self. Is there a specific role, looking ahead, is there a specific role that you would like to play at some point, or some kind of character, or something that you haven't done before?
It's a good question. Well, I kind of love the complex, difficult characters. Also, I love to do a lot of research and to learn new skills, for example. But I love to be very physical. I kind of dream of playing a dancer once, maybe. Or also, I would love to play a high society in the past, like a historical movie. And then I could learn the old ways of behavior and old language, and I would love that. And also, I feel like in Germany, we don't have a lot of genre movies. So I would die to play in a horror movie a real bad girl or something. That would be just awesome.
Do you have a dancing background in terms of your dance?
Well, I did musical when I was a teenage girl, and even younger when I was a kid. I used to sing and dance on the stage. Yes.
Wonderful. All right, we'll look for those. Who are some of the actresses that you, or actors that you admire? And do you have a personal idol? Any? It could be German or not German or anything.
I grew up with Isabelle Huppert, also because I love the French cinema. And then, like, talking about the German ones, it's always kind of embarrassing because I of course hope to meet them one day. But I once had one scene in the series Shadow Play with Nina Hoss, and I'm very inspired by Nina Hoss, and I think she's an awesome actress. Also, I love Sandra Hüller because I think both of them, they are just stunning in films and on the stage. And I feel like this is all you can, that's just, if you're an actress and you can do both. Yeah, I'm impressed.
I was lucky enough to interview Nina Hoss for this series a few months ago, or I don't know, probably a year ago now.
Yeah, well, I of course have seen this interview.
She was amazing. She's amazing. I love her too. Can you share one or two personal German film recommendations for our American audiences?
Like recently or in general?
It can be older or more recent, whatever you prefer.
Okay, so for example, I love the film Kids Run, who premiered at the Berlinale in 2020, I think.
Okay.
It's about a young father who's struggling with his role model as a man while trying to be a very heartful and decent father. And another movie I've seen on the Berlinale in 2020 was Exil, which is about xenophobia, also with Sandra Hüller. And that's a really political and a great movie as well.
Yes, I think that's playing in part of our, we have a Discover New Talent series that's going on right now in the US. So I will make sure to highlight that in when I share this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking with us today. You're a delight. You're a delight. You're very different from Miss Stella, and I hope that what do you know anything about what happened to Stella herself, the actual person? Do you know anything?
Well, there's some information in the internet, but I'm not very sure about how trustful they are.
Yeah.
But I think she died in 2003.
Okay.
But there's not so much you can find. There's one documentation about Christiane, and I don't know, maybe by accident she just was visiting Christiane then, and they just made a small interview with her as well. And I found that one, and it really inspired me. But this is actually all yeah, there's not so much more.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna try to dig a little deeper and see what I can find. So
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lena. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.